Florida State just got a yes over the weekend, a late summer yes from three-star, actually rivals industry four-star offensive lineman Deron Parks. What do you think about Florida State's summer? And let's start with the latest guy that they brought in.
Yeah, it's a great finish to the summer. Getting Deron Parks, that's one that they spent a lot of time on, and it's one that was a major necessity. That's why I said it's a major pickup for them because he can play tackle. He's going to be more than likely a tackle coming in. So to add a guy that you need as far as that position of tackle, I don't think they're done. I think they're going to want one or two more, but I think overall getting that to finish the summer was tremendous, especially on his talent, because I think he's an immediate impact guy. I think he's a guy that, yeah, he's not probably going to play freshman, but he'll play early. He's a guy that I think can make in that rotation. He's got the skill that's going to fit that, and he's a guy that I think is a future star. As far as inside that offensive line class. So I think he's one that I'm out of the commits. I'd say he's one of the ones I'm most excited about. That they landed this summer.
Well, in a place that they did a whole lot of work, Michael, on the offensive side of the ball. They want to add a couple more guys in the trenches, but at wide receiver, Tim Harris Jr., Gus Malzahn, however you want to assign credit. Mike Norvell obviously is an offensive guy too. They went to work at skill position. What can you say about the receivers and where they stand right now in this cycle?
Yeah, we really didn't know what they were going to do. We knew Tim Harris Jr. was pretty good at South Florida kids. We knew, hey, he do okay, but I don't think we expected this kind of explosion where it was one of the best wide receivers classes that they've had in their history. If you look at it, I mean, they had four-star wide receiver Devin Carter. You already had four-star Darion Williams committed. You also add into that Brandon Bennett, Jason Lopez, a 2 sport star that is a phenomenal talent that I love. As far as game, getting receivers where Malzahn's more of a run guy, perception wise.
Right.
I think that really moves the needle for me when I look at that wide receiver class to get that type of talent.
Yeah, the messaging has to be on point. And also, from a rev share standpoint, you got to be investing at receiver if you want to bring in this many guys. So interesting that in a way, Gus Malzahn's reputation did not prohibit them from grabbing a bunch of receivers. Now, you have a full article available at warchant.com. It's a closer look at Florida State's 2026 recruiting class and how, quote-unquote, locked in they are with the Noles. It's inside information for those of you that are at warchant.com. If you haven't subscribed over at Warchant, it's just $1 for your first week, so head over there right now. Give me one guy in the list, Michael, because it's a long list, but give me one guy in the list that Florida State is going to have to do some work to make sure that a commitment turns into a signature on signing day.
I would say Darrell Bell, safety, 4-star safety. If you remember, they got Jay Timmons, so there's some wiggle room if they somehow didn't keep him. Now, I do think Darrell will sign with FSU, but there's work to do to finish it off. Auburn's certainly coming on strong, and we've seen other schools be involved in his recruitment. So he's definitely one that I would have circled of just to keep an eye on. Darion Williams is another one. We know Florida. We know he shut down the recruitment, but as I tell people, there's no such thing as that. There's no such thing as shutting down the recruitment, in my opinion. Recruitments are always, at least in some capacity, somewhat open. So that's one that I don't hear anything, but I think, Florida missed on a top target. Florida was the main, team to worry about. I could see Florida coming back and trying to make a push. So those two really, for me, stand out. I know you only asked for one, but what the heck? It's a good show, and I'm going to throw in two for you guys. So, but those are like two that I would kind of circle that, I think they just need to finish it off.
Well, and in the locked-in department, we'll give you this one, everybody. He's now a 5-star because on 3 rivals, there's a consolidation in the rankings. So, like, the industry ranking has taken a huge hit in a good way for Chauncey Kennan because he is now a rivals industry 5-star, top 30 player nationally, top 2 at his position at cornerback. Florida State landed him, Michael, just after the 4th. It was, you were waiting and waiting. We knew that there was a date, and Florida State landed Chauncey Kennan. Yeah. How about his status as being locked in?
Yeah, I think he's locked in. I think it's kind of a case when you get a tattoo for FSU, that's kind of a signature like
Yeah.
this is probably pretty good. But even before that, I think he made it clear he wasn't going to visit any other schools when he committed. The moment he committed, um, we actually thought it was going to be earlier, than when he did it. We actually thought because he had that July 6th date, but we actually thought that he might do it kind of before then because he had already told the staff. He even said so, like, "Hey, I've been committed for like a month and stuff like that." So I think it's a kid that's very sold on what they're doing. I think as long as Patrick Surtain's there and the pieces are there, it's hard to see him not being there and certainly having a solid career there and certainly a solid talent with the group that they already have. I mean, we've already covered a few of them, but I think it's a great group as well at defensive back. So, but to have a guy like that that's locked in, that's a major one, at least on the defensive side of the ball. And then on the offensive side of the ball, the one Tom, I'll be honest. The guy I'm most excited about is Xavier Tiller, four-star tight end. You don't get four-star tight ends. I'm used to me. You wouldn't get a four-star tight end ever because most of them are always three stars or they just wouldn't have the value they have. But that kid is one of the ones I'm most excited about. He just does everything. He's explosive, just two-way, just does everything as far as you don't see a tight end when you look at him. He's more like a bigger receiver. So he's one that I'm really excited about seeing what he does, and also think he's locked in. So there's a lot in there that is locked in, but people can read it. But I think it's a really good story where I really touched on kind of the ones that I keep an eye on that I think you got to still finish the job. But there's also somewhere I think they're already locked in that hey, this is where they want to be, and it speaks to kind of what the product they've done, product they've shown, this spring and summer. I think it says a lot about the sales job they've done to put together this top 14, top 15 class, and I think could get the top 10 if you make some flips, down the line. But I think overall they've done a phenomenal job when you factor in what they were coming off of as far as a season.